You're on CYInterview.
I'm Chris Yandex, featured columnist Jay Bilstein is with me. Today on CYInterview, we welcome actress, model, and now rapper Jasmine Metivier. This past week, she released her first rap song titled Grateful. Jasmine has just also spent a month vacationing on the Las Vegas Strip. Got interesting questions about what that was like to be here during a pandemic. Jasmine, thanks so much for being with us on CYInterview today.
Thank you for having me. I'm doing great, and yourself?
We're doing fine. Happy belated birthday before we begin.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
So to begin, just for our audience reference, you're 24 years old. Many tourists never spend a month vacationing in Las Vegas. So how would you describe that month being here, how it felt to be here during a pandemic, and what motivated you to be here?
Well, what motivated me to be here is because, one, Vegas was it had very low cases, so we wanted to go somewhere where it's more safe and we could get to be outside and it's great weather and great people and everything like that. So we chose Vegas. Which I had a blast while I was there. I did not expect to stay a month. We was having issues with the flight coming back and forth. So we was there for 2 weeks. We was only going to do 2 weeks, and then the flights got transferred. And then next thing you know, it became a month. So it was an experience because I've never stayed in Vegas that long. The most is probably like a week.
Gotcha. So was this already a planned vacation before the pandemic happened?
No, it wasn't. Actually, it wasn't at all. My friend just woke up and was like, oh, we should go to Vegas. He was actually in a pool in my building, and we were swimming. And we were like, oh, we should go to Vegas. He called another friend, and then we just booked a trip to Vegas. And we didn't get a return flight.
Gotcha. I hear you. So then here's my question for you. So you were here longer than you were expecting to be here. Was there any, in that time that you were here, was there any moments of cause for pause because of what's going on in the world?
Yes, it definitely was. So we were staying at Harrah's Hotel, which Harrah's is a beautiful hotel. We were there, that we had a suite there, and so during when we was in the casino playing, they was very cautious about masks and everything like that, and only when you're gambling. But like the week after, like the week before we left, they was very serious. Like you couldn't even come into the hotel unless you had a mask on. You couldn't even. You had to stay 6 feet apart. They was separating big groups. Like it became very serious.
Gotcha. So because of your artistic background, I imagine we would see you at the nightclubs or one of the Las Vegas great shows, productions.
Yes.
But with no nightclubs and very few live performances going on, many would say two things. Did the 4 weeks seem like a really long time? And what were some of the things you did during that time, and what were the highlights for you because there were less things going on?
Yes, 4 weeks does seem like a long time because Vegas, I feel like, is a couple days trip. I don't think you go there a month on vacation. But it's usually you stay for a couple of days, but usually you have entertainment to distract you. So it was not much entertainment. We went to a couple of hotels to try different foods. We did stop at Carmine's. We did a few things, but as far as like the entertainment, it really wasn't any entertainment, honestly. Like we was just mostly gambling every day because that's the only thing that was really open. And then we just in the hotel rooms or just going by the pool. And yeah, the biggest excitement we had probably was at the pool because that's when the most people you meet. The strip was kind of quiet majority of the time. So, it was extremely hot. So during those weeks, it was very hot. So it wasn't too much to do.
Yeah, well, maybe in the future, as things continue to expand in your music career, which we're going to be talking about, we'll see you performing at one of the nightclubs here on the Las Vegas Strip.
Oh, I would love that, absolutely.
So recently, first rap single titled Grateful. So I'm going to ask you we know that you have an acting background, but when did you know that you wanted to start doing hip-hop? When did that moment come, hey, I can do this? Obviously, as you know, in recent years, for women who are in the rap game, that has definitely grown. But when did you know that this was something that you could do and wanted to do?
Wow, very good question. I knew from a very young age. So I grew up in a musical background. My dad was in the band. My uncles was in a group at a time called Skin Deep, and they did stuff for like Notorious B.I.G. and Little Kim. So I was always surrounded by it since I was very little. And then I went to performing arts school. So through elementary all the way up to high school, I was in performing arts. I grew up in church, so I used to sing in the choir. And it kind of became just my nature in a sense. Like it felt so organic. Like it's not something I had to force or like pretend to do. It was just very natural to me. And I just love art in general. So it was very easy for me. And growing up and seeing rappers like the Little Kim and the MC Lights and everything like that, it really encouraged me to see strong women in power, especially, African American women having a voice and, believing in what they want to speak about and really taking a stand. So it really inspired me.
So tell me about your first song.
Okay, so this is actually not the first song I recorded. I had so many songs, and I'm a perfectionist, so I would never put them out. But I recorded this song. Literally, I feel like I was just at my friend's house, and I was just writing, and I heard the beat. The guy who made the beat, my producer, he's a great friend of mine, and he put the beat on, and we was just vibing. I was like, okay, do the beat this way, do it that way, and then we just started writing. And we just, I have an amazing person who helped me write the song as well. They helped me with the hook. And we just started writing, and we started flowing, and I wanted something to represent, a woman who's strong and sexy and classy, but still, still owns who she is and like a boss. So I wanted something like that. I didn't want too much cursing, too much vulgar, degrading of body. I wanted to still be sexy, but very classy and clean in the same way. And something motivational, grateful. I am grateful for life. So I just wanted to add that with it.
The song is titled Grateful. It's available on all streaming services. I'm going to throw it to my colleague, Jay.
Okay.
You know what's so interesting in what you're saying is that simply the title, right?
Yeah.
The title goes in kind of an uplifting direction from the get-go.
Yes, and
it's not something dark. It's not something, and let's be honest, I think there's plenty of tough things going on in society, and that have gone on in society, and we can focus on that, and a lot of times it's appropriate to focus on that. But I think we also have to be grateful. We also have to think about, there's a lot of wrong out there, but what's right? What do we have to be thankful for? And I think you bring in something very, very important. I remember, Chris, was it Macklemore back in 2012 who did Thrift Shop?
Yes,
and, that went in a very different direction, right? Because for a time, hip-hop got in a direction, I would say, that to an extent for some people may have seemed almost out of reach. Everybody is not going to be in a Bentley. Everybody is not going to have a champagne glass in their hand. Everybody is not going to be able to, go into a club, make it rain, pay for all their friends. Some people are going to have to get by on less. And Macklemore comes along, of course, and he does Thrift Shop, which is about, hey, I can still be out there styling, and I can do it without, without Rolex and Prada and Patek Philippe or whatever you have. Did you have influences like that, for example? I'll throw out the name Macklemore. Were you ever influenced by Macklemore? Were you ever influenced?
I know the song. The song was definitely, I was very young when the song came out. I was probably in freshman year of high school or junior high school when that song came out. And it was definitely very interesting because it was a different perspective from a rapper talking about, I could go to the thrift shop and still be flashy. So it definitely changed the perspective of what it takes to still be, dope or, a fashionista and everything like that. And when I was doing the song Grateful, I was just in a place, I believe in adversity advantage, and I believe despite all the craziness going on, we always have something to be grateful for. We are so blessed in ways. Sometimes it's, we don't notice it when we're in so much stuff, but we are grateful. And I just wanted something that felt good, and I wanted to express where I was currently at. It wasn't the best time for me, but I was still so grateful. And I'm a big person who believes in manifestation and prayer and gratitude definitely changes perspective. So I just was listening to everything I'm grateful for, and people who start to think, what am I grateful for? It changes your perspective drastically, and you start to realize that I might not have everything I want, but I have everything I need, and I'm okay that I'm in process. And it's a good thing. We all have something to feel proud about.
Channeling a little bit of a music crossover. You don't always get what you want, but sometimes if you try real hard, you get what you need, right? Mick Jagger, the Rolling Stones. So it's interesting, and it's also interesting because, that goes back to the 1960s, a time of great upheaval. And once again, we're in a time of great upheaval. And so I think that's very timely. Let me ask you, what's on your playlist? And I'm going to throw some, old school out there. For example, there are people outside of hip-hop and rap, some names, I'll throw out a name who I always had great respect for. I don't even know if you know who he is. He was born 30 years before you, King's son. King's son in the New York metropolitan area back in the day had a very, very strong following. Unfortunately, never broke out larger and nationally and worldwide. Wu-Tang Clan, of course, very well known worldwide. Who's on your list? Who's on your list that might not be a...
Yes, Wu-Tang's amazing. Definitely like legends at what they do. I'm like kind of old school, even though I'm very young. I listen to Nina Simone, Lauryn Hill.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, I love Lauryn Hill. I'm like a huge fan of her. I do listen to Michael Jackson when I want to feel upbeat and inspired. I do listen to the Beatles. I'm a huge Beatle. I feel like their scoring is just amazing. Like just the instruments they choose and the way they choose to do their voices is amazing. I look at also the new people, the Jay-Z's. I'm very big inspired by Jay-Z because I am from Brooklyn. Everyone from Method Man, his lyricism and his words, and it's so many. Eartha Kitt. I love Eartha Kitt raspy voice because I have a very raspy voice. So I used to love listening to her, especially in Catwoman because she is a singer, actor crossover. So for me, that was a big inspiration. And
very, very true. So you've got breadth and depth to your playlist, right? It just doesn't go in one direction real deep, but it's broad, and that's very, very interesting. And also Nina Simone, wow, that's you're bringing up you're bringing up classics of the classics of the classics of the classics. Now you're also an actor.
Yes.
And you did some very exciting work. Tell us about that.
Yes, I did a feature film in India, in South
Unbelievable.
Yes, I was living out there for about 4 months, and it was the most life-changing experience that I ever experienced. I'm so grateful. That's one thing I was extremely grateful for, and I put that in a song, Deals in India, My Money's Bilingual, because, to get the opportunity to be a different, one thing out the country, but, across the world, and be able to do business, and for what I do, people pay me for my talent, and that's the first biggest film I was in. It was across theaters in the Middle East. It came over here to America. It's on Netflix, Amazon. So for me, that was so amazing that someone, especially of African American, can be seen on a screens where they are very strategic about who they put in screen as lead roles, especially as women. My role was as a strong woman who knew what she wants, and she wasn't scared to speak up to men. And for that culture, you don't see it much. America's more open, and we have a bigger voice, and that's one thing we are very blessed with, to have a voice, to even go out. And a lot of other countries, you don't get that privilege to even have a say. So for me to have that role, and I had so much amazing feedback from women across the world, especially Arabic countries, thank you. Seeing that inspired me. To see a woman with curly hair on the screen inspired me. So it was just amazing. And I was working with seasoned actors who have decades in this, and they still respected me and they trusted my process, my art process. So it was beautiful. I met so many amazing people who were just humble. They were just so humble and so giving. I met this family. It was in a little village, and they invited me into their home. They fed me. It was so beautiful. It really was.
Talk, if you could, about your training. You spoke about your process. Have you studied Stanislavski, the method?
Yes, I Meisner technique. I did. I don't have a one go-to technique that I go to. I have different ones. I have press and play, listen and act. I have different ones, but Meisner is the one I usually go for because I think it's important about living in the moment and listening. And through this technique, it helped me with everyday life too, to really listen to sometimes not what's being said, but the understanding of why they're saying it. And that's really what acting is about, is really listening and responding and not reacting. So, I've done that, and then I went to performing arts. I did theater. I did off-Broadway theater. I performed at Carnegie Hall with instruments.
Wow.
I understood what it is to have yes, I used to play the clarinet and the recorder, even the recorder is recorded. But I played the clarinet at Carnegie Hall, and just understanding what people want to see. They want to be escaped. That's what entertainment is, a way for them to escape and be somewhere else. And for that little time, they're paying you to make them escape. They shouldn't have to worry about anything that's going on. And if you do it well enough, at the end of the performance, they don't want to leave. So that's what I truly try to master, whether it's a movie, whether it's on stage performing, whether it's at a small venue. Like, I always try to let the person get that experience.
Well, I have to say, you are just filled, Jasmine, with absolute positive energy.
Oh, thank you
And
so much.
it's just a pleasure to listen to you, and we look for tremendous things coming from you, and I suggest everybody go out there and, download Grateful.
Yeah.
And, who knows? Maybe in short order, when Las Vegas opens back up, maybe, who knows, maybe you'll be the next person to have a little bit of a residency in Las Vegas.
Actually, I would really like to live in Vegas. It's very different, but the culture is very laid back. I feel like the Las Vegas people are very laid back. Like, they're not in a rush. Being from New York is like, let's go, let's go. Vegas is like, we're going to get there. So it's very different, and I like that.
It's also more affordable.
Oh, yes. Oh, trust me, it's way more affordable.
I know. New York City rents have gotten scary. Well, Jasmine, pleasure to have you here. Chris?
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for taking the time out to speak with me.
You're welcome, Jasmine. Last question I have for you, though you've had a very long life in performing arts. Many would say that you're at the beginning of your career in show business as far as a world audience knowing who you are. But with social media and distribution now much easier for people to put things out, things build very quickly. So what's next for you?
Well, I'm going to get back in the studio to record again. I'm going to shoot a music video for my song. I'm going to do a big promotional backing behind that. I have like so many amazing people that I'm looking to collaborate with. And I'm going to be getting into more films as well. So I'm really excited. And social media has been a big influence for me. Like, I've reached people across the world who I've never met that reaches out to me to say they love my music, they love my work, and to be an unsigned artist. And this is my first single, and in a week I got over 1,000 people downloading and streaming my stuff. I was just so shocked, and I was just so blessed. And this is with no promotion. So people definitely are super supportive, and they're rocking with me, and I'm just so thankful.
God bless you.
So for actress, rapper, model, overall talent, Jasmine Metivier, featured columnist Jay Bilstein, and CYInterview, I'm Chris Yandick.